$40,000 in art school debt and nothing left to lose. So I grew up outside of Atlanta, Georgia, Augusta, a couple hours outside of that. That's why it makes me laugh that everywhere that I can afford to live in Seattle, all of my friends that have lived there their entire lives warn me that those places are in the ghetto of Seattle, Washington. I know you guys aren't from there, but if you need to know, Seattle, Washington is made up of half Amazon employees, half liberal arts students. I don't even know what a ghetto would look like in a town that liberal and prosperous, right? Just a bunch of Mumford and Sons sitting on their front porch, wearing vests, drinking their handmade micro-brewed 40 ounces, smoking their fair trade crack cocaine out of a crack pipe they made out of recycled materials or whatever. Just threatening to stab you with their blacksmith-forged artisanal shivs, yelling at the top of their lungs, I got $40,000 in art school debt and nothing left to lose. He's mugging you so they can afford Whole Food pomegranates or whatever. A bunch of dudes who look like me doing ironic drive-bys on their unicycles. Yeah, just dragging out their antique record players into the street where they listen to an LP of Notorious B.I.G. they heard about on NPR. I'm not afraid. If I hear a gunshot in my neighborhood, I'm just like, watch yourself, somebody didn't sort their recycling properly. And people get very upset about that in this town. Like, I'm sorry, you're not allowed to have both a ghetto in your neighborhood and also have 8 places you can take your dog to get a massage. Dog massage. I Googled it before I came out. 0 dog massage parlors in Provo. Yeah, you guys are too busy having common sense. Dog massage? Call me old-fashioned. I know I'm not from Seattle, but isn't that called petting your dog? What kind of a monster buys an animal, keeps it locked inside their home, and pays a stranger to love it for them? I feel at that point maybe just get a picture of a dog or watch a video of a dog. The internet is filthy with that. Dog massage. What are these rich people even talking about, right? How do they... What is a dog even doing that's stressing him out so bad he needs a massage therapist? Look at me. I could use a massage therapist. My dog does nothing all day. What are these conversations like? They're like, yeah, man, Fido just hasn't been the same since he slipped that disc in his back licking himself the other day. I know, mine just hasn't been handling these election results well, so... Some people might say $100 an hour is a lot of money to spend on an animal that eats its own poop, but I disagree. Happy to share a little bit of information with you about my life. I weighed myself this morning and it is official. I've lost over 110 pounds in the last 2 years. You guys are so supportive. It's like a crowd full of my mom out there. I like this. Like, we believe in you, Billy. You can do it. Could have not got fat in the first place, but we still love you. Could have just stayed the way I made you, but you know what? That's fine. It takes some people longer, and that's okay for you. I was a big guy. I gained it quick over like one chubby summer. So I have stretch marks. As a man, that is not a good look. Do we have any other men out there with stretch marks that want to admit to it? Anybody? How funny that they never do. I see their eyes. I'm not gonna call them out by name, but their eyes say to me, they go, move along. Stretch marks, they're just scars. They're just scars that you get, emotional and physical. Really sort of an emotional scar manifested physically. But they're not cool scars. If you told somebody, you're like, yeah, I'm all scarred up, they'd be like, you must be a pretty cool fella. Not with stretch marks. I'm not gonna take my shirt off and be like, yeah, this is when I did 3 tours in Afghanistan. Saved a child from being shot by a terrorist, point blank range. No, this is just me going like, yeah, this is when they released Mountain Dew Code Red smoothies. Yeah, it was a rough week for my people, to be honest. You guys have no idea how embarrassing it is to be a full-grown man with stretch marks and no baby to show for it. It's a rough life. It's a rough life, because if you're a lady and you have stretch marks, maybe you brought life into this world. That's beautiful. That is a miracle. I'm a man with stretch marks. All that means is that I ate quicker than my skin could keep up with. The only thing miraculous about that is that women ever date me. That's the only thing. I do. It comes with a little bit of loose skin, too. People don't tell you about that. You think, like, man, I'm gonna lose this weight and I'll be gorgeous. No, life doesn't work that way. I kind of look like you shaved a flying squirrel and left him on the side of the road. Like, not a full flying squirrel, just like I feel like if you threw me off a building, I'd float for a minute before I fell. And they'd be like, he's so brave doing that with his shirt off. Like if we were cuddling up on the couch watching a movie, you'd just be like, and now I'm warmer. I'm just saying I bring a lot to the table, you know what I mean? You go with oh, you've been skinny all your life? Well, can he do this? Can he do this? And then they'd be like, why would he do that? I'd be like, that's not what I'm talking about. Can he? Why are you leaving? I live in Seattle now. I haven't always lived in Seattle. How do we feel about Seattle by round of applause? What do you think? 50-50, kind of like me. That's fine. I like it. I grew up in a very small town in Georgia, and Seattle is a big, liberal, artsy town. So nothing makes sense to me. Like, culturally, nothing makes sense. I'm constantly confused. In my neighborhood, we have benches, right? Perfectly good benches. And on those benches, we've built statues of homeless people sleeping on the benches. And nobody knows why. Nobody knows. I've asked, nobody can tell me why we've done that as a city. All I can figure is that is maybe the single most passive-aggressive way for us to keep homeless people off of our benches. We're just out there like, I'd love to let you sleep here, Rusty Joe, but I've already chiseled a young man on this one. Move along, there's no more room for you here. So it's a little different than where I grew up. I grew up in a small town called Augusta, Georgia. Has anybody driven through there on the way to somewhere better? Anybody? Ooh. I got you to clap before you knew it was gonna be mean. That's the good part. She was like, oh, I've been there. Oh, he made me feel bad about it. I was excited. Why isn't he? Because I was there for more than a day. The only thing you need to know about Augusta, Georgia is one time I saw graffiti on a bale of hay. I feel like that's all you need to know. We don't have to go into it any further than that. Augusta, Georgia's so trashy, people graffiti bales of hay. And I want you all to know that there wasn't a horse in that pasture that didn't know how awesome Jake was that day. They all knew. I live in the Pacific Northwest now. A lot of people where I live think I should have a deeper, more redneck Southern accent because of where I'm from, which you're nodding, that hurts my feelings. That's fine. It's okay. I want to let you all know in the fine city of Provo that not all of us sound like extras from the movie Deliverance, all right? Yeah. And not every child born in the South is born with like one side of their overalls undone, plugging on a banjo. They're just like, give me the sweet tea, mama. That's not how it works, no. Most children in the South eventually lose their Southern accents. So, you know, like, for me, it happened right around the time I learned to read. I'm not being a jerk. You guys just don't know what it's like to be a young Southern man reading a book and be like, all right, if that's how that's spelled, I've been saying it wrong. That is... Is that a new letter? What is that? It's like a T, but there's a little thing at the bottom of it. Anyway, who knew there were more than 23 letters? People in Hollywood have two Southern accents they do. They do redneck, inbred, horrible Southern, which is basically what I've been doing this entire time. And then the other one is what I call plantation owner Southern. And even if you don't, thank you, even if you don't know, she's a little ahead. She'll fill you guys in when you catch up. She'll have a PowerPoint, it'll be some Spark Notes, it'll be good. Plantation owner Southern, even if you haven't heard it, you've heard it. It just goes like, oh, hello there, I'm not one of those dumb Southerners you've heard all about. I drink mojitos down by the beach and read from leather-bound books that I don't own or whatever. I hate that accent. I hate it because I know when I hear that accent in a movie, I'm about to hear some ignorant stuff go down. Because that's somebody be like, oh, he's a rich Southerner. Give him that accent Kevin Spacey does in all his movies. What I hate about that accent is Hollywood has decided that that is a fancy accent. But I'm gonna let you guys know that that is not how accents work. If you have an accent, you just have it. You can't just give it to rich people. You don't like screw in a monocle and be like, I can't stop talking like this now. I guess it just comes with the monocle. Who knew? It did not say on the box when I did it that it was gonna do this. Yeah, you'll be walking downtown in like Alabama. You're gonna see some guy in front of a gas station like, excuse me, sir, can I borrow $1 to go in here and buy some flaming hot Cheetos? I don't mean to be rude. I gotta take this call from my brother in the penitentiary. In the meantime, you can talk to my wife. We met down at the, gathering of the Juggalos. Just at a job interview, like, good sir, I would love to accept this position at Ladies Foot Locker, but I definitely cannot pass a drug test. Will that or will that not be a deal breaker? Well, all right, I will see myself out then. The best thing about Southern accents, if you look at the history of the Southern accent, there was a time when the southeastern part of the United States was colonized by the British. Those are our ancestors. How did we go from the fanciest accent on earth to the living banjo of an accent that we have today? How did we go from Duke of Edmonton to Dukes of Hazzard? I want to know. I need to know. If I know anything about the proud Southern people, I bet we did it intentionally. Yeah, out of spite for the British. We just heard we won the Revolutionary War. We had our guns in the air like, boom, 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 we're never talking like them losers again. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom. One of the generals is just like, yeah, come here, your name's Cletus now, come here. Fill all our tea with sugar, Cletus. They'll write us letters, they'll be like, that's not tea, and we'll be like, it's sweet tea and it's all we drink now. You write them a letter, take this down, Cletus. You tell them I said, why don't they go back to where we came from? That is either the smartest dumb joke you're ever gonna hear, or the dumbest smart joke. Either way, by the end of it, it's only ever for about a fourth of you guys. And people go, why do you keep telling it? And I go, because I get to yell a lot. If you look it up, accents typically form within the first 6 months you're on Earth based on the people talking around you. And when I read that fact, I started cackling with laughter because, you know, somebody out there has faked a sweet exotic accent for half a year and ended up with a cool kid with an awesome accent. Somebody out there's done that. I'm not the smartest person I know, and I thought of it. Somebody's done that. I couldn't do it for 2 reasons. First one, perhaps maybe the biggest one, I don't have a kid. And I feel like I wouldn't be able to get one for 6 months enough to test this. And I feel like when they get him back, my excuse of like, I just tried to make him sound cool, why are you arresting me, or whatever. I don't think that's gonna fly in a court of law. The other one is that I am very horrible at any non-Southern accent, and I really don't want to mess up my kid, right? I don't want my kid to come up to me at the age of 10, finally working up the nerve to ask his old man that question that's always been on his mind, you know? He comes tugging at my shirt sleeve. Father... why do I talk like this? Nobody else in the world talking like this but me, Father. I don't even know what I would say to him in that moment. I'd probably try to be honest with him and say something like, I figured you were gonna ask me eventually, but anyway, Daddy was going for Italian. I didn't really know anybody from Italy, though, so I kind of just went with Mario. I don't feel like that's setting him up for success, is my point. I have a dog that lives with me. It's not my dog, it's my roommate's dog. As far as I'm concerned, that is the worst way to have an animal in your home. Because if you think my roommate has trained this animal at all, you would be mistaken. All he does is chew up everything I love, pee everywhere. He bit me. I'm a prisoner in my own home. Send help. And I was reading online, they say that if you neuter a dog, that medically it's supposed to mellow him out, right? And I like to think even if that isn't true, if I get it done, maybe he'll learn his lesson. I'll take him to the vet myself, slip the vet some extra money, be like, hey, doc, give him the Lance Armstrong, just take one of them. And the doc will look at me and be like, why? And I'm like, because I still want him to have something left to lose. He goes to lift a leg up in my home, goes to bite me again. I'll just point to my silver necklace where I've gold-plated the thing I took. I'll look him dead in the eyes and be like, try me, you saw what happened last time. It is weird to think that people think I live in the ghetto. I live next to a hospital. I feel like it's kind of nice, right? I go over there and eat a lot. I'll eat in the hospital cafeteria. I'm not too fancy for that. I like eating there. You know what you don't have to do when you're eating in a hospital? Dress up and look nice. Somebody wants to judge me in my sweatpants, I'll be like, I am dying as far as you know. I will take my pudding cup to go. It's funny I mentioned that. I've been eating there a lot, and I was telling my roommate that I think I'm like their favorite customer. And they were like, why? Why do you think that? I was like, well, I went there the other day, had enough money for a sandwich, had a pudding cup, didn't have pudding cup money. They gave me the pudding cup. And they were like, so let me get this straight. You've been going to this cafeteria in a hospital every day for 3 weeks. And you think they like you because they gave you a free pudding cup. And I was like, yeah, that pretty much sums it up, yeah. And he's like, they probably assume you're dying. And I was like, that would make sense. She did hand it to me and say, you need this more than I do. And I was like, I thought she just knew I was hungry and loved chocolate. I mean, either way, free pudding cup, right, brother? You know. I went to Hawaii recently on vacation. Make some noise if you ever been to Hawaii. Anybody here? I loved it. And I went to Hawaii on vacation. I'd never been. I went down to the beach, white sand beaches, and you could swim with sea turtles. Nobody told me that. It was beautiful. It was majestic. I honestly feel like it kind of changed my life. It was that beautiful. But there was the only thing that ruined it was that the government in Hawaii, anywhere that you could swim with sea turtles, has had to put up signs. And those signs read simply, please do not touch or ride the sea turtles. First of all, I had never even considered it till you mentioned it. Second, those signs probably used to just read, please do not touch the sea turtles. Oh, and we made them get more specific, didn't we? That seems like a second or third generation sign. Like, I don't know how much better we can phrase it. Just some guy arguing with his wife on the beach, like, no, Camille. If God didn't want us to ride him, why'd he build those sweet saddles on their backs then? Yeah. Checkmate. I'm gonna be a sea cowboy and you can't stop me this time. My favorite thing about those signs, people from all over the world vacation in Hawaii. It is an international tourist destination, but those signs, only written in English. Oh yeah, Provo, that's just an American problem. Maybe us and like 3 confused, rude Canadians, but that's it. We're the only people on Earth that would go down to the beach on vacation, look an endangered animal in the face and go, hey! I'm gonna ride the heck out of you. Oh yeah. Just tame him, just like, shh, 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 shh. I'm gonna tame you. You also know why I think that's an American problem? Because I think we're the only country dumb enough to ride an animal slower than we are. That is a privileged problem, right? Be like, just on his back going nowhere. Well, I don't have anywhere to be, neither does he, man. We're kindred spirits. Yeah. Man, at this rate, I'll make it back to Alabama in roughly 3,000 years. This is gonna be good. That's not even the weirdest sign I've ever seen. The weirdest sign I've ever seen is in Seattle. Is in Seattle, there's a park, and on that park, there's a tree. And on that tree, there's a sign. And on that sign, it reads simply, with no further explanation, no piñatas allowed. Do you guys have any idea how many separate piñata-related events had to have occurred before they went down to the sign shop and had that bad boy custom made? Because I don't know if you're sign shop aficionados like I am, but that's not just hanging on the wall of a sign shop. An adult had to go into a place of business and speak to another adult and go, "Hey! Hey, this has gotta end. And it's gotta end today." When I think about it, and I think about it a lot, I have to imagine it was like a day-by-day piñata-related ordeal. Or one horrible, candy-filled Cinco de Mayo tragedy. Just cars are on fire, babies are crying. There's a park ranger in the back going, "You know we will never allow piñatas back at this park ever again. Ricky, take me to the sign shop." A little bit about me, I am sober now. I'm sober for a little bit now, and I prefer it that way. I drank too much as a young man, and I was no good at it. Thank you. That's what other people did too. I was a blackout drinker. That was the time I realized I needed to stop doing it. Is I remember I looked at my watch and went, it's only 9:45. Boom, I woke up the next morning. Now all of a sudden I'm a detective in a mystery novel that I'm also like kind of the main suspect in. Like, it's not a good look when you have to investigate your body for bruises like you're a cop looking at a corpse on CSI. You're like, my God, based on the bruises, there was clearly signs of a struggle here. It's a shame we'll never find out why. And I'd love to tell you, good people, like, I went out and did some cool stuff. Like maybe graffitied a bale of hay. Or something rad like that, rode a sea turtle, something cool. No, what I did, in my infinite wisdom, was go grocery shopping. And I understand there's not a lot of drinkers in the audience, but it is definitely a low point when you wake up after a night of having fun and all you can find to eat in your house is food you clearly bought drunk out of your mind the night before. You have a lot of questions. The biggest one being, why in the world did I buy 10 cans of creamed corn? Also, how did I get it home? It's a lot of cans of anything to drag behind me in a plastic bag. I didn't drive it home drunk. I'm not my mom. Calm down. I wish I could pay the grocery store for that footage. Because if I know me, I'm going to tell you right now, I was running up and down the aisles, yelling at the top of my lungs, "Billy loves corn, but he hates to chew." My point is, I'm a classy guy. And if you need some cream corn, surprisingly enough, still have a lot of it left after 4 years. The thing that made me stop drinking is I got brownout drunk one time. And if you're not familiar with what brownout drinking is, it's exactly the same as blackout drinking, except you have vague, fuzzy memories of the worst parts of your life. So the next morning after brownout drinking, you're not just a detective, you've graduated to psychic detective. You walk past the wrong restaurant with your friends, you're like, whoa, 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 whoa. I don't know how I know this, but I'm pretty sure I'm not allowed in that Denny's. How do I know that? So I gave it up. So I'm in Seattle now. Marijuana is legal there, and it has ruined the city. It's made it weird. Like everybody, so like my roommate has more pot than money, and I'm gonna tell you that's really rough to split bills with a person like that. They're like, I'm a little late on rent, but I gave you some weed. Like, what am I supposed to just hope the landlord's cool? What is this? I'm not gonna be able to go convert this for adult money, you know? Makes my apartment weird. I went into my kitchen the other day, I opened up my fridge. In the side compartment of my fridge, there was a half-eaten chunk of pineapple inside of a sandwich bag that said Purple Kush Weight on it. I went to my roommate, I'm like, really? Is this how far our poverty has come? That the sandwich bags we turned into pot bags have to be turned back into sandwich bags? What kind of white trash recycling program are we running here? My roommate also believes that aliens helped us to build Stonehenge. Did any of you guys believe that? Really? You're not gonna like the rest of this joke. Oh, let me tell you, I do not side with you on the edge of this debate. Here's why I think that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You're fine, thanks for paying to be here. If you believe that's true, you believe that aliens developed light speed travel, visited ancient man, came down, met with us, and all we could think to do is go, hey, aliens, could you help us move some rocks around, or? And they're gonna be like, why? And be like, because then they won't know how we did it. They're gonna be like, how'd they get them rocks in a circle like that? Were people bigger back then? They won't know. Also, could we stack it into a triangle too? That'd be cool. It's the pyramids. I get it. I get that was very dumb, and that perhaps maybe you didn't laugh for that reason. You're like, we got it, was the pyramids. Move along. I'm gonna tell you guys a story about my grandma. This is very true. I went back home and I visited my grandma. My grandmother helped raise me. She's one of my favorite people in the world. When I went back home, I guess in the 2 years since I had gone back home, she had come down with a pretty bad case of dementia. And when I mentioned it to my dad, who had been dealing with it for 2 years, he's like, yeah, I don't know what happened. It's like we took her to Florida and she came back with Alzheimer's. Well, okay, I don't think that's how it works. But here's my point. If you have a grandma, maybe keep her out of Florida for a few years. Just to be on the safe side, right? Who's to say? But it's bad because she's my grandma and I love her, you know? And she got to the point where she's forgetting people's names. She'll lose her purse and her wallet and her keys. We left her alone for no more than an hour, and she became incontinent, had an accident. And when we brought it up with her, she was really rude. She was like, nah, that wasn't me. Nah, that must have been somebody else. Well, okay. I don't know what the weirder reality to believe is then, right? Like, on the one hand, my grandmother has gotten up in age. She's got a bad case of dementia, but that she has a family that is more than willing and more than able to love her and take care of her. Or someone's breaking into my grandmother's home, pooping everywhere, pooping in her pants to frame her for it, and leaving without a trace. I'm just like, hey, Grandma, what enemies did you make in your youth that they are messing with you so specifically and weirdly? What did you do as a child? My bigger point is that is an Ocean's 11 movie I would watch, right? They're in the warehouse, they're like, let's go over the plan one more time. Step 1, break into Barbara's house. Step 2, poop everywhere. And I mean everywhere, including her own pants. We don't want them asking questions. Step 3, and this is really important. Tony, look at me, this is important. Step 3, steal nothing. The new guy's in the back. Boss, I have a question. Why? Why are we doing this? Why do we keep doing this? He just looks straight at the camera. Camera zooms in. He goes, Barbara knows why. I want you all to know that several people told me you guys weren't going to be cool enough for that joke. And I said, I believe in Provo. Best thing about that, when they edit the video, it's going to have a little edit so you can say, do you want to filter poop? But it's not gonna say poop, it's gonna be like P asterisk asterisk P. And I'm gonna look at it and I'm gonna go. Before I get out of here, I do want to mention my wonderful collection of baskets that I bring with me everywhere. It's one of my riders. When I do a show, I go, okay, I'll come, but I'm not leaving my basket collection at home. And they're gonna go, are they made of wicker? I go, you know they are. And they'll say, well, is it just gonna be baskets? I'm like, you can throw in a wicker chair if you need to. If you must, but I'm bringing them, all right? Total value of this is roughly $43. I don't mean to brag. They'll say, do you want me to stack them up nice? I said, no, just throw them behind me. Just make sure there's a little one in a big one. Multiple times. Because if I'm carrying around a wicker basket, you better believe it's gonna be in a wicker basket. I'm glad we didn't have anybody that makes wicker furniture out there. Like, well, I don't think this is funny at all. He's kind of being insulting to my entire way of life. I, Eleanor C. Wicker Basket, do not agree with this. I come from a long line of wicker baskets. None of this is making it into the special. It'll be fine. They have final edit. They're not gonna be like, well, he's making fun of our whole set. I'm gonna cut this all out. And I'm gonna make it look like he fell down when he came up here. That'll teach him. My grandma made those wicker baskets, and I don't think she deserves this at all. So I'm living in Seattle now, and I love it. It's my favorite place. It's very expensive to live, so I have to have a roommate, which I've mentioned several times before. What I didn't mention to you guys is my roommate is a lady. And I don't feel like a lot of y'all were picturing a lady there, and that's your own bigotry. That's between you and yourself. That's really something you need to ask yourself about. We're not dating in any way. She's just my roommate, just a friend of mine. She's really the only person that can tolerate me, is what we say. It's cool, it's weird. Like, she's one of those gals, she'll like go out on dates, bring guys home, and I don't know how to feel about that, right? Like, she went to a bar the other day, she picked up a dude. That guy came back to our house, stayed the night, and then the next morning, all three of us found ourselves eating breakfast together. And I'm gonna tell you right now, Provo, that guy had no idea what was going on. He was a little concerned over what was going on there. So I think I'm charming. I lighten the mood. I look at the guy. I'm like, come on, man. We're both adults. Are we seriously gonna sit here eating eggs and not talk about the fact that you slept with my wife in our house last night? And I just threw my eggs at the wall and walked out of the room. You know what I mean? On my way out, I whispered at her, though. I was like, hey, good luck. Oh, yeah, and the best thing is I can do it again to any guy she brings over. What's she gonna do, warn him? I don't think that's gonna work. What could she possibly say? She's gonna be like, hey, listen, before I invite you up, I gotta let you know. I live with this guy, and he's gonna say he's my husband. Just a little game we play with each other. Guys, that's my time. Thank you so much. You've been wonderful.